A terrible story from the hotel. The video opens with visuals of a dimly lit hotel corridor. The wallpaper is peeling, and a flickering neon sign outside reads, GRA__D_HOT_, with some letters missing. Rain taps against the window panes. Hey everyone, it's your buddy Alex here, and boy, do I have a story for you. Have you ever stayed somewhere that you couldn't wait to escape from? Well, let me tell you about the time I checked into the most dreadful hotel imaginable. This isn't your average travel tale, it's a deep dive into hospitality gone wrong. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's unravel this nightmare together. Ready? Let's jump right in. Chapter 1. The excitement of the trip. Alright, so a few weeks back, I was scheduled to speak at a tech conference on advanced cybersecurity protocols. Big deal, right? The conference was in this quaint town I'd never visited before. I was genuinely excited, not just about the event but also about exploring new surroundings. I hopped on an early morning flight and landed without a hitch. The town was about a 2-hour drive from the airport, so I rented a car and set off. The landscape was stunning, rolling hills, dense forests, and the kind of fresh air that makes you take a deep breath and smile. As I drove into town, the architecture caught my eye. Beautiful old buildings with intricate designs, a real throwback to the early 1900s. I caught sight of my hotel. At first glance, it looked vintage, thinking this could be charming. Little did I know, I'd just arrived at ground zero for one of the most perplexing experiences of my life. Chapter 2. Check-in troubles. I pulled up to the hotel, and the parking lot was nearly empty. Weird for a place that's supposed to be booked for a conference weekend. I walked into the lobby, and it was like stepping into a time capsule, but not the good kind. The decor was outdated, and the lighting was dim enough to make you squint. Behind the desk was a receptionist who seemed more interested in her magazine than in helping guests. I approached with a smile. "Hi, I'm checking in under Alex Turner." She glanced up briefly, ID and credit card. "No, welcome, no eye contact. Red flag number 1. After a couple of minutes, she said, "Your reservation isn't in the system." I showed her my confirmation email. She sighed heavily. "Our system hasn't been syncing with online bookings." "Nothing I can do." I asked, "Can you enter it manually?" She frowned. "That's not how it works." Red flag number 2. I pressed on. "Is there a manager I can speak to?" She gestured toward a door marked, "Staff only," and said, "He's busy." At this point, my patience was wearing thin. I decided to wait. Maybe it was just a technical glitch. Spoiler alert. It wasn't. Chapter 3. The room reveal. After what felt like an eternity, a manager emerged. He looked harried, like he'd been putting out fires all day. "What seems to be the problem?" he asked curtly. I explained the situation, and he finally agreed to assign me a room. No apology, no acknowledgement of the inconvenience. He handed me a key, an actual metal key attached to a bulky plastic fob. Old school, right? I headed to the elevator, which made this unsettling clunking noise as it ascended. I half-jokingly wondered if I should have taken the stairs. Reaching the 3rd floor, the hallway lights flickered ominously. The carpet was worn and had questionable stains. I found my room, 312, and unlocked the door. The moment I stepped in, I was hit with a musty odor, like the room hadn't been aired out in years. The walls had peeling wallpaper, and there were cobwebs in the corners. But the pièce de résistance was the bed. The sheets were crumpled, and there was a visible footprint on the duvet. I checked the bathroom, and it was worse. Mold around the sink, a dripping faucet, and towels that were damp and smelled like vinegar. I sat down on a chair, only to have it wobble precariously. That's when I noticed that one of its legs was shorter than the others, propped up by a folded piece of cardboard. Unbelievable, I thought. Is this some kind of social experiment on guest tolerance levels? Chapter 4. Seeking help. Determined not to let this slide, I picked up the room phone to call reception. The line was dead, of course, so I used my cell phone to call the hotel number. No answer. I decided to go back downstairs. At the front desk, there was a queue forming. Apparently, I wasn't the only one with issues. One guest was furious about being double charged, while another complained about a leak in their ceiling. The receptionist was defensive, offering no solutions. When it was my turn, I explained the state of my room. She looked at me blankly and said, "Housekeeping has left for the day." I replied, "It's 2 p.m. She shrugged, "They work half days on weekends." I asked if I could switch rooms. She said, "We're fully booked." I gestured to the empty lobby. "Really?" She didn't appreciate that. "Sir, there's nothing I can do." Frustrated, I asked to speak to the manager again. She rolled her eyes but called him over. He arrived, looking more irritated. "What now?" I took a deep breath. "My room is unacceptable, unclean, items broken, and the phone doesn't work. I need it addressed or a different room." He snapped, "You're free to check out if you're unhappy." Wow. Just, wow. I couldn't believe the lack of professionalism. At this point, I was questioning every life choice that led me to this moment. Chapter 5. The Incident. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. That evening, I tried to make the best of it. I cleaned up the room as much as I could. Around midnight, I heard loud noises from the hallway, a mix of shouting and banging. Initially, I tried to ignore it, but it kept escalating. I peeked through the peephole and saw two men arguing loudly, clearly intoxicated. One slammed against my door, causing it to rattle. My heart rate shot up. This wasn't just annoying, it was threatening. I tried calling reception again, still no dial tone. Suddenly, I heard a loud crash. The men had broken into the room across the hall. There was yelling and sounds of a fight. This was beyond unsafe. I called the police. While waiting for them to arrive, I barricaded my door with the wobbly chair and my suitcase. The police arrived quickly, thankfully. They arrested the two men, who, as it turned out, weren't even guests at the hotel. They'd wandered in because the main entrance doors were malfunctioning and didn't lock properly. I spoke with the officers, who mentioned they'd been called to this hotel multiple times for similar incidents. Apparently, this wasn't a one-time thing. Chapter 6. Checking out in a hurry. I packed up my things in record time. Heading downstairs, I found the reception area empty. No staff, no security, nothing. I left my key on the desk with a note explaining that I was leaving due to safety concerns. As I walked out, I bumped into the manager smoking outside. He looked surprised. "Leaving already?" I responded, "Yes, for reasons that should be obvious." He rolled his eyes. "Suit yourself." No apology, no inquiry, just sheer indifference. I got into my car and drove to the nearest chain hotel, about 30 minutes away. Luckily, they had a room available. The difference was night and day: clean facilities, professional staff, and, most importantly, a sense of security. The next morning, I checked my email and saw a charge from the first hotel, not just for the full stay, but with added fees for incidentals. Are you kidding me? I called the hotel to dispute the charges, but no one answered. I contacted my credit card company to contest the charges and explained the situation. They were helpful and initiated a dispute. Small victories. Chapter 7. Aftermath and Reflection. Back home after the conference, which went well despite the chaos, I decided to delve deeper into this hotel's background. I discovered numerous complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau and a slew of one-star reviews detailing experiences similar to mine. As someone passionate about system efficiency and risk management, I couldn't help but see this as a case study in catastrophic business practices. The hotel's failure wasn't just in one area, it was systemic. Poor customer service, inadequate security, lack of maintenance, and non-existent crisis management protocols. I wrote detailed reviews on multiple platforms, hoping to warn others. I also filed formal complaints with local health and safety authorities. A week later, I received a generic email from the hotel offering a discount on a future stay. Unbelievable. This experience taught me valuable lessons about diligence and the importance of standards, both personally and professionally. I let my excitement override my usual thoroughness. Never again. For those of us in the field of operational excellence, it's a stark reminder of what happens when systems fail at every level. So, that's my harrowing tale of the worst hotel stay ever. If you've made it this far, thanks for sticking with me. Key takeaways? Always do your homework, even when you're busy or excited. Read reviews, check for recent complaints, and don't assume that any place meets basic standards. For my fellow professionals in operations and management, let this be an extreme example of the fallout from neglecting systemic issues. If you found this story enlightening or at least entertaining, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on future deep dives and, hopefully, less traumatic adventures. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe. Coming up next week, an in-depth analysis of cutting-edge cybersecurity threats in 2023. You won't want to miss it.